Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Hands on SAP Dev with Q Macro. That's me, DJ. Welcome to episode 79. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here again. It's Friday again, which seems to have come around very fast. I've got my coffee already from Heart and Graft, and I've got my Italian style amaretti biscuit. So watch out for some Italian pronunciations maybe later, or Italian typos. I'm just monitoring my stream rate here. I'm getting some warnings. Like I say, I've just said in the chat, I'm trying 1080p. I've got a hardwired Ethernet connection from my laptop all the way to the router, rather than rely on the mesh Wi-Fi here. But I think my upstream bandwidth is just about enough, maybe not quite. I'm getting some stream health warnings here, warning the stream's current bitrate 1580 is lower than the recommended bitrate, blah blah blah, different warnings. But it's 8 o'clock my time here. Michelle, my wife, who also works from home at the moment during the lockdown, she's going to be on a call at 8:30. So if it completely degrades, or if it degrades before then of course we've got to do something about it. But if it degrades around 8:30 when she goes on some sort of Teams or Skype or whatever call, also taking up some of the bandwidth, then we'll know maybe it's that. But we'll press on because I would like to. I'm limited with the internet connection I can get here in the village. But we'll see. Let's go. So, good morning, Pranay. Good morning, Fuad. Robertino, howdy. Tim, good morning. Peter, yes, 1080p with heart eyes. Yes, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Good morning, Rahul. Jodel, good morning. So, let's get going. I think I keep looking. It's really weird, right? When I first started live streaming with you all back in early 2019, January 2019, I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing really, but I was always monitoring what's going on. It feels like a lot of plates spinning, and now I'm sort of pushing my limits with, the streaming software, and more precisely my internet connection. I'm sort of distracted again by things that are going on. So we'll see. Please let me know in the chat every now and then whether it's still okay, whether it's whether it's good, whether it's like some weird dropouts or something. Tell me what's happening. Talk to me. So yes, let me move to the main scene, and I want to just highlight a couple of things. One thing that's going on right now. I think it started also at 8 AM, as in just now, 8 AM UK time, is UI5Con on air. So obviously it's a virtual event for obvious reasons. So awesome people presenting. It's live right now. It's a really good website, so check it out. Let me just copy that. And hey, hola, Max. Hola. Yes. By the way, Max, you're highlighted. For those of you folks in the chat, Max and Tom and Kevin, who have also got live streams and YouTube channels, we've also been talking and making each other moderators in the channel, so we can help out with questions when we do, other things like now. Tom Young has done a couple of premieres where we can watch a video, a stream together, his stream, but he can relax and chat and everything. So we're trying to sort of push the boat out a little bit more with what we're doing with the live stream, so we can sort of maybe interact with you folks more directly on the chat. Hey Guy, good morning. So superhero Guy, who will feature in fact in the next browser tab. Guy, welcome, totally welcome to you, Guy. And Jinx, welcome and good morning to you. So yeah, so hands on SAP, UI5Con live. It's going all day today. This is day 2. There's the agenda. So Stefan and Peter are kicking it off again. Day 2, a couple of awesome people. So that's that. The watch out with your comments, exactly. So Max, you've got, I don't know whether you can see it here, but I can see you've got a little spanner next to your name. It's quite exciting. Anyway, I'm not sure whether you saw this, I put together a little teaser video, or a pre-teaser video for today's live stream. And I was quite proud of it. It's like da da da, and it pointed to a comment made by Guy, in fact. So 2 weeks ago we were experimenting with the SAP CP CLI, which is hard to say, the SAP CP CLI, the Cloud Platform command line interface, which you can see we were using here. I pause this, this is the live stream from episode 77, and I created a sub account with the command SAP CP create account sub account blah 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 blah, and we got some information. Okay, so you see that as well. That's good to know. We got some information, including a job ID, and I'm quite sensitive, as in a positive way, to job information, because I like, I come from the mainframe area, so jobs, is in my blood. And I said, oh yeah, it'd be cool to, dig in a little bit more to what that job is, to see maybe the status. I said, well, I'm not sure you can do that. And Guy said, you can query the job status via the API by providing its ID. So that is the subject, or the seed of this particular episode. So Guy, yeah, you're famous. You came on, and you were famous like in one go. And I was talking for the folks on the channel. I was talking to Guy and another colleague, Aviad, yesterday. So Guy, thank you very much. Aviad, thank you very much. Super helpful people, always, as always. One of my favourite places, SAP Labs Israel. Anyway. Wonderful people there. Anyway, so we're going to experiment with that, yeah, I've just pinned up here as well. Probably some people who know me know I like running, and know I like drinking beer, and I'm a member of a running club, the Michela Running Club Manchester chapter here in Manchester, obviously, and we have a slogan: "Run together, drink together." Okay, and most Michela running clubs are based out of breweries or bars, beer bars. Ours is based out of Beer Nouveau, fantastic brewery, just down the road. So we have this slogan, "Run together, drink together," and it reminds me, hey Anoop, welcome. It reminds me that maybe the unofficial, unspoken slogan that we have here on HandsOnSAPDev is, I'm going to make one up now, which is "Learn together, fail together." So I'm quite ready to, crash in a smoking heap of fail today with you, because this is first of all, this is beta software. I've just noticed Chris, welcome. I was going to say I just noticed a comment about pronunciation, and it's Chris. It's the one and only Chris Payne. Welcome to you. Good evening over in Australia. You did enjoy the pronunciation of router earlier. I've had to change my pronunciation so it doesn't sound like router, as that has a very different connotation in Australia. Oh dear, okay. Well, I better not speak too loud then if I'm coming out on loudspeakers in Australia. Yeah, I know. Router, people say router, don't they? It just sounds really weird to my ears. So I'll probably carry on saying router. I don't know what you missed. You probably missed. I had these amaretti biscuits, and very Italian. And after I'd eaten one, I typed in the administrator user into the cloud connector, and I misspelt it, and it was administratore with an e on the end, which was quite funny. I thought it was quite funny anyway. Anyway, so let's get going. So this is sort of partly, hands-on hacking experiment, and partly just a step back to see where we, hackers, developers, technicians, will be going or are going, along with the journey with the SAP folks, building this out for us on SAP Cloud Platform, right? So first of all, I'm switched to my sort of normal my SAP trial account. That's me here about. Oh, what's going on there? That's interesting. That was strange. Let me just refresh that page. Very exciting. Here we go. There we go. So I'm in feature set B. I think many, or if not all, most if not all folks will be on feature set B. Now, we talked about feature set B a couple of weeks ago. And feature set B gives us access to super cool things like directories, like all sorts of different bits and pieces for managing your cloud platform stuff. Okay, so this is like the, I'm going to say it, you know, I don't mean anything politically by it, but this is like the, almost like the post-Neo era, the new Neo. You see what I did there? The new post-Neo era, where we're hyperscaler aware, where we're multi-environment, and the idea is that, you know, actually it's not just Neo and Cloud Foundry, but we've also have Kima, we've got the ABAP on Cloud Platform as well as an environment, quote unquote. And of course, you know, if other environments come along as well on hyperscalers, you know, we want to maybe pay attention to those as well. So what we're talking about here, in my brain, and this is just me learning as well, in my brain, this is super important and super interesting as well. So what we did on in episode 77 is we used the SAP CP command to create that create a directory and create a sub-account. That's a CLI for SAP Cloud Platform. But at the same time, not only can you use a command line interface for this sort of thing, for managing, you know, global accounts, sub-accounts, creating sub-accounts, destroying them, creating directories and so on. In fact, let me just switch to here. SAP CP is the CLI. I'm not logged in. I've deliberately sort of logged out so we can do it together. That is the thing, SAP CP help, and we've seen this before, haven't we? Just to remind ourselves of the sorts of things that you can use the SAP CP CLI to do, to manage accounts in regions, properties for accounts, directories, beta as well, beta, router, entitlements, all that sort of thing. Now, the really interesting thing is that not only do we have the CLI, but we also have APIs. And as you can see, the APIs are presented to us in a nice sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Not comfortable, familiar way, because of course the API hub also uses this presentation approach to sort of organize and, you know, disclose information about the different APIs. Okay, and again, note, excuse me, this is beta, and in fact, correct me if I'm wrong, guy, but in fact the SAP CP CLI uses a lot of these core service APIs to actually do the heavy lifting. Okay, so we're going to use the very short and succinct comment from Guy to sort of push us in this direction to explore the other side of SAP CP, which is the core service APIs. Okay, so let's have a quick look in my trial account what we've got. I was playing around with this one yesterday, and I've managed to I wrote a little script to create a few 10 sub accounts and put them in a directory, and I've sort of half broken something, but I thought I'd leave that there, partly because I wanted to show you, because this is like learn together, fail together. This is me in failure mode, but also because I can't figure out how to delete them. I've sent a message to some folks on our Jam page internally to say help, but I've got this here, okay, which is quite cool. So I think what we want to do is do everything together, okay, and maybe at the end of the live stream, let's try and let's see if we can have created a directory and created a sub-account in a directory, not using SAP CP, not using the Cloud Platform Cockpit, but using the APIs. Okay. Now the APIs, we've got accounts here, like an accounts group of things, and global account operations here allows us to look at the global account, which is sort of fine. We've got these directory operations, and if you stare at this, the directory operations that you can carry out are pretty much exactly reflected by the directory operations we have here: get, create, update, delete, and enable. Okay, that's all there. One of the things that's missing for me, again, this is still beta, but in my mind, what's missing is list directories. Now, Guy also gave us a tip about how to list directories, or how to get a list of directories, which was to use the command to look for sapcp get accounts global account, and that has an option somewhere. There we go. There, the show hierarchy option, and that'll list everything out. Okay, so let's do that. In fact, let's log in now. Okay, SAP CP login. See, that's the right CLI server. It's got that sort of pre-configured for us in the client itself, and of course, remember SAP CP is a client server sort of setup. So we're now connected to the CLI server. The global account subdomain is, if you remember, is this thing here. So let's use that subdomain. And the subdomain, remember, is basically your account ID plus -GA for the global account. The user, which one is it? dj.adams@sap.com, and the password is okay, cool. So now we're logged in, and now I can say SAP CP get accounts global account show hierarchy. Let's try that. Now we can see the errors here, but this is that's making everything super ugly. So I'll just truncate the output, and let's have a look at that instead. That's better. Okay, it's pretty fast as well, actually. Pretty cool. So we can see that the details for the global account B070, which is there. Okay, I've got, let's have a look with our eyes first here. Let's just expand that. I've got 1, 2, 3 sub-accounts. 2 of them are sort of broken. And as you can see, 9 and 10, you can probably tell I was doing a for loop and creating accounts like wham, bam, 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 bam. Maybe it was my fault that things broke. But anyway, and I've got my sort of default trial account here, which is also in EU10. And if we look at the directories, we've also got a directory, and it's this directory that we created a couple of weeks ago. I'm sort of slightly embarrassed now because I had to sort of log this information in the help request I had on the Jam page, and basically they're seeing that my directory is called bananas and the description is yellow and bendy. But anyway, they all know I'm an idiot anyway. So we've got here the global account and the trial accounts, and then underneath the global account in the hierarchy we've got this bananas directory, and then underneath that directory we've got these 2 accounts, 9 and 10, the ones that I can't delete. Okay, so what we're going to try and do is to create a new directory and a couple of 1 or 2, 3, whatever new sub-accounts in that directory using the CLI. Okay, so that's that. And we can see here, by the way, there's the global account, and then, for example, the directory. If you look at the directory ID, that's 0FC3. The directory, 0FC3. So it all sort of fits together. It's quite a nice way of displaying this. I like that. And then sort of further to the right there, that's where all the error messages are on the deletion, like the latest status. I'm dying to eat this biscuit, but I know last time it was stupid. Last time it was so crumbly, it took me ages to swallow it, so I won't eat it. By the way, folks, let me know on the stream, let me know in the chat if everything is okay. The stream is saying, it's okay, so, fingers crossed, touch wood, we're going to carry on. So, DJ, stop talking and start doing. So, what we want to do is we want to create a directory. Okay, now, if we have a look here, if we go back, there's some really nice documentation. Come on, back. There we go. Authorization. I'm going to put that up in a separate page. And basically, let's close that for a second. Basically, we've got here. There we go. The same. Thanks, Tim. Yeah, we got the same level of information here. Account administration using the CLI and account administration using the APIs. Beta feature set B. So manage authentication for authorization and authorization for the cloud management APIs. Basically, what you need to do is something we've been doing before when we were, hacking on Oauth and other service instances. I think workflow, we were doing workflow and business rules, and we were sort of, creating access tokens for us to use. And we're going to do that here as well using the password grant type. Okay. Does anybody remember the password grant type? Okay, so what it says here is that in order to, your global account admin has entitled at least one service plan from the cloud management service in your sub-account. I see, I've never heard of the cloud management service, and basically, and I'm hoping that if I get this wrong and if Guy's still there, thanks Chris, brilliant, thanks for confirming. If Guy is still there, he will correct me because I'm sure I'm going to make a hash of this, but one of the really cool things that sort of Guy and Aviad helped me understand yesterday was that we on the live stream have been sort of creating instances of services in the Cloud Foundry environment. Okay, but these service instances are generated from services that are made available to Cloud Foundry through a service broker. But those services could also be made available to a Kubernetes environment, KeyMet environment. And it just so happens that the one we've been using during the live stream episodes is Cloud Foundry. Okay, now that explains why, for example, when it says here you need to create a service instance for the cloud management service, we'll come to that in a second, it says there are several, well, there are two, there are several options well, actually, no, I'm being too harsh here. You can create an instance of CIS in the Cloud Foundry environment, either using the cockpit or the CFCLI, okay, using SAPcp or, using the CFCLI or the SAP Cloud Platform cockpit, right? Which would mean then that, we're using to us, normal everyday CF layer to create a service instance of CIS. But, and we're not going to do this today, but this is definitely something we should investigate, we can also create a service instance in the context of multi-platform, i.e. not in the context of Cloud Foundry. Okay, so it's still the same service, black box, but exposed not just to us in a Cloud Foundry sense, but to us in a general sense on the multi-platform, on SAP Cloud Platform. Okay, and that here is the accessing the APIs, and we'll look at that. There's another command line tool called SMCTL, Service Management Control, but we'll leave that for now. We don't want to confuse things. I don't want to confuse myself. So we need a service plan from the Cloud Management Service, and I've already set this up. If we have a look here at the service assignments, we can see that I've got this Cloud Management Beta. We've got a local plan available and a central plan available. So that's what we've got, and the assignment I've made to the trial subaccount is that I've assigned both a local plan available and a central plan available. Okay, so I've done that already, and if we have a look here, in fact, I've deliberately also logged off CF. If I do CF marketplace, it'll say I'm not logged in. Oh no, I am logged in. I logged in about half an hour ago. Let's have a look. Getting all services and also CF target. What am I targeting here? Oh, I'm not logged in. Interesting. Ah. Ooh. So why did that work? CF marketplace? Well, let's log in and see if we get a different set of. Ooh, that's interesting. CF login. Where do I need to log into? I can't remember. Sub account. Trial. Jodel, is this targeted for partners to be able to do automated service provisioning for customers buying solutions provided by SAP partners? That is definitely one of the game plans for sure. But I think it's more, it's even more important than that. In that, people like you and me, people like us here, definitely need to understand how the cloud platform is made up and how it lives on a hyperscaler or multiple hyperscalers, and how services. So Max is here, and I'm surprised, Max. Maybe you're waiting for the right moment, but the way that these services are made available are through what's called the Open Service Broker API, the OSBAPI. I pronounce it OSBAPI because, of course, BAPI, I'm a ABAP at heart. OSB API, Open Service Broker API. So it's more than that, and we could create services as well. That if we wanted to expose those to our, to our own organization, there's all sorts of different possibilities. So here we go. Here's our API endpoint. It's, oh yes, okay. So it's the EU10 API endpoint for my trial account. It's on EU10. Okay, fine. CF login. Okay, defaulted to API endpoint EU10. Anyway, email dj.sap.com. Okay, it's that one there. Okay, so now CF market. There we go. Let's have a look. come on. There we go. So we get a lot more. That's interesting. So the services that were available to us when we weren't logged in, sort of these, yeah, they look pretty generic services. That's really interesting. I wasn't expecting that. That's taught us something. I'm not sure exactly what it's taught us yet, specifically, but it's definitely taught us that there's a difference between the services that are available to us through an environment and generally, globally. Okay, really cool. All part of the same sort of understanding plan. Oh my God, it's 8:26 already. DJ, keep going. So we can see here, I've got the CIS service available in central and local plans. And in fact, I think I've already created, yes, I've created a CIS central service instance, as in an instance of the CIS service with a central plan. And that refers to, if we look at the authorizations here, there we go, manage authentication authorization, we can look at the service plans and we can see that there are two main service plans for CIS. There's a central service plan and there's a local service plan. And you can sort of think of this as, you know, global and local. What we want to be playing around with for creating directories and sub-accounts and so on is a central service plan, okay? Which makes sense, right? So we've now got the prerequisite. What are the first? Well, we've got the prerequisite fulfilled. Where are we going here? Oh, here we go. Yes, we got the prerequisite fulfilled. Okay, we got the service plan. We created the service. I think also we need a service key so that we can actually then, you know, request an Oauth token. Did I create a service key already? CF service keys CIS central. Let's have a look. Yes, okay, so CIS central SK. So let's get CF service key CIS central SK, and let's have a look at it. Okay, so it's like a normal-ish service key that we've seen before, and we're going to need information from this service key to do what it says here, which is basically, okay, authenticate using the password grant type in Oauth. It's an Oauth flow to say, please give me a bearer token. Okay, so let's do that next. Okay, and this is the sort of thing we want to do. We want to go to the UAA URL. We want the Oauth token endpoint. This should be fairly familiar to us in terms of, you know, Oauth flows. And we have used the grant type, the password grant type before. The password grant type's unusual in that you supply the client ID and the client secret as to authenticate the actual HTTP call, but you pass the person's username and password in that authentication call, as you know, as in the payload, in the form of, you know, a name value pair thing. Note that curl by default actually specifies this as the content type, so we don't need to do that. And when we specify a -d for data, it also defaults to post, so we don't need to do that. So I'm going to be a little bit lazy. Okay, so let's do that now. In fact, what we can do is let's delete the first two lines, because the first two lines is its ugly part of the CF output is the getting and the white space. So let's do that. So we can, let's see what it looks like. That's pure JSON. So we can now put that into key.json. So we got it, okay? And if you remember, I've got this little, which, just so we know what I'm doing, which SKV, we've got this little service key value utility to grab SKV, to grab UAA.URL, for example. There we go, bang, SKV, URL, UAA.client ID, what's the client ID, and so on. So we can grab things from that service key JSON, okay, and it defaults to looking for a file called key.json, okay. So far, so good. Right, so let's do this. Let's grab a token. Let's grab a bearer token, shall we? If we say curl let's do the URL first. Service key value uaa.url Oauth token. Okay. And we want to specify the, in fact, let's put the user, I always like to put the URL at the end, I don't know why. User service key value uaa dot, was it, client ID $skv UA client secret. I find this is useful because it sort of expresses exactly what values we need where. And then we will pass the data in terms of username. What was it? We have to, yeah, it's username and password, right? You can put us on the same thing. Username equals dj.adams@sap.com, and password equals. I'm not going to type my password in. Okay, let's just let's assume it's going to be in a variable called pass, and I'll do that now. Read secret pass. There we go. And I'm going to get my bash shell to allow me to type in my password, in secret, and then that will be assigned to the pass variable. Okay, so we can use it there. I think that's it, right? Password equals pass. Let's do that. Let's do that now. So there's my password. Oh, missing grant type, of course. Yeah, missing grant type. Grant type password. There we go. What an idiot. We've got the pass variable now anyway. So let's do that again anyway. Grant type equals password and username equals DJ. Okay, cool. So we get some information, but what we want, let's do that. Let's do this, right? Let's say read s pass and export pass. No, actually, hold on a second. Pass should be still there. Pass should be still there. Okay, that's fine. Don't forget to post. Don't forget. Well, Chris, if you specify -d for data, the default. In fact, let's do it right. The default method is post. Let's just paste that into JQ and get the access in raw form. Get the access token. There we go. Let's do that again. Let's just not mess around with the pass thing. There we go. So we can see, Chris, I hope. Where is it? Connected to. I'm not sure you can see. Oh, there we go. There. Post. There. So it does post by default if you specify data. And also you can see the default content type is this form URL encoded as well. So that's cool. So now we'll do that one more time, and we'll just say here export token equals the result of that. Okay, let's do that. Okay, we got a token. So far, so good. Right. So now, that's a long token. So now, what else do we need? What do we need to do next? Okay, we got the access token. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Call the cloud management APIs using a Swagger with the access token you received in the previous step. Choose one of the endpoints of your instance. Browse to endpoint, Swagger, yeah, authorize. Yeah, okay, so let's do that now. So now, if we go to accounts, we get this little authorize button. So it works in a similar way to, obviously, when we're sort of exploring APIs on the API hub. So there's like a general button here, but I think there's also buttons against it. So do a general one, authorize, okay? Authorization key. Now, I think this is the value of the authorization HTTP header. So the value has got to be bearer and then the actual, hold on, the token itself. Echo token PB copy. There we go. Authorize. Close. Let's try that now. Get a global account. See if that works. Have I done everything right? I'm not sure. Try out. Oh, there we go. Execute. Right. Oh, yes, it worked. Okay. So, wow. Okay. Worked first time. Amazing. So, I don't know about you. But the way the API is presented here, and the tryout thing is really cool. We can do it on the browser. It's awesome. But the actual presentation of it does confuse me a little bit, to be honest. Because down here it says responses, but these are the possible responses you could get. Right? This is just example data. But up here is the actual response that we got. Here's the curl request. This is really nice, showing us what actually was requested. So I suppose we could copy paste this, couldn't we, and try it in the terminal. We'll do that in a minute. The request URL was accounts service cfapps EU10 handleondemand.com accounts v1 global account, which is exactly this endpoint here. And we get GUID B070, which is this one here. Okay. Display name, that's me. Okay, unsuspension accounts are split complete. I love that word, unsuspension. It's a non-word, but that's nice. Active, there's my, yeah, this is me. This is me. So Chris is saying, does anyone else ever wonder about the security of Oauth token processes where the token is accessed on the same server as the API solution? Oh, I'm not quite sure I understand what you mean there, Chris. Maybe explain a little bit more in the comments. Sounds like it's an interesting question, but I'm not quite sure I completely understand. Maybe give us an example. Yeah, we can discuss it. Why not just continue with basic auth? Where's the security improvement? Well, okay. So here's my understanding. And this is like really high level sort of generic understanding. Basic authentication, I love basic authentication as well. But basic authentication requires, a user ID and a password, which is harder to revoke and also harder to have a more granular control of what scopes that user has. With a token, inside a token, there's no passing of a password, so passwords are not sent over over the wire, whether they're encrypted or not, and it's not specific to a user. So if you wanted to revoke the access, you could revoke particular access by saying, well, that token is not valid anymore. Okay, the token that we gave you, and there's different OAuth grant types that will result in a token that has a certain lifetime. Okay, I think the tokens, we saw that the token, in fact, somewhere, okay, but if you're using the basic authentication to pick up the token, I see. Okay, so the basic authentication is not using credentials relating to the person, but it's using these sort of short-lived credentials. Again, credentials, as in terms of a service key, that can be revoked as well. So it's like a two-stage revocation possibility. This is in my brain, right? So that's how I understand it. This is a brilliant question, by the way, and it's also really important to think about. So the way I understand it is that the basic, so what we did, here we go, here, this is what we're looking at, isn't it? So we passed the username and the password. I mean, to be honest, I know that the folks on the team, because don't forget, this is beta as well, I understand that they have to allow for, at the moment, the password grant type. But that actually is either about to be deprecated or is already deprecated in terms of usage. And I'm guessing partly because you're passing in the request somebody's username and somebody's password. The actual authentication itself, as in the basic auth header, is using the client ID and the client secret as the username and the password, not the person's ID and the person's secret. The person's ID and the person's password is here. However, there are other grant types like the authorization code grant type, which I think would, could, will supersede this password grant type. There's no user ID or password supplied. Okay, that's for when you're building services that have their own identity, and where you want to delegate authority from an actual human. That's where you use the what's the auth type called? The not the author. Oh, it is the authorization code. Oh, yes, sorry. What I was talking about just then is the client credentials OAuth flow, where the client has its own credentials. So basically there's a service there that deserves its own credentials. Where you want to delegate authorization from a human to a service to act on the human's behalf, that's the authorization code flow. I hope that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. This is definitely something we should discuss more. And if that doesn't make any sense, leave some. Either ping me on Twitch, on Twitter, or leave a comment. Actually, I've been thinking. Actually, we're not making use enough of the comments on the video. So put a comment, and we'll have a conversation in the comments. Should be cool. Okay. Anyway, but I thought that's okay. So there we go. We've used successfully that token as a bearer token to do something with the API. So why don't we now try to use that API to create a directory? So what's it look like here? Global account operations. Yes, we definitely chat sometime. Yeah, this is something that we should spend more time on. I'm conscious of we've only got an hour for this, and there's so many good things to discuss. So let's create a post accounts directories. Now the actual URL there was account services cfapps EU10 HandsOnSAPDev.com, and we can get that URL, I think, from the service key, can't we? VIKey.json. What's it look like? Let me just account service cfapps accounts. There we go. There it is. There account service URL, the endpoint. So theoretically, and again, Guy, keep me sane here, we should be able to use that to create a directory. Let's do that first. Okay. So the actual API endpoint is accounts v1 global account. Let's just try that API first. So accounts endpoint account service URL skv endpoint account. What's it called again? Oh, God, I can't remember the name already. Oh no, there. Cat key.json skv endpoint.account service URL. That's the one. Okay, so it's that plus slash accounts slash v1 slash global accounts. So let's do that. Let's copy that. Okay, so curl. That's a verbose. Let's put that up here as well. Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm not making use of my new stream deck. I've got my person picture down there. It's quite exciting. Up there, down there, up there, down there. Quite cool. So curl verbose skv. What was it again? I can't believe I've forgotten it again. What is it? Endpoints account service URL. Okay, good. Endpoints accounts service URL. And then that. Ooh. There. Escape. Oh, there we go. Sorry. $. Okay, so that's fine. We've got the account service URL. Fine. Not found. No message available. However, what we want to do is, of course, to authenticate header authorization bearer token. There we go. In fact, let's JQ that. Let's JQ that, baby. There we go. So we're using the API to do the same thing. Get accounts global account as that. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Login. Yes. 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 As that. Same thing. Let's do a silent. And then compare it. And then do that one. Yep. Pretty much the same information. That's cool. So now, oh yeah, I was sort of slightly panicking, but we've got about 15 minutes left, haven't we? So we should now be able to create a directory. So what did we need to create a directory? In fact, we can see it here, directory operations, create a directory. So let's have a look. Try it out. We need to post that body. Custom properties, we don't... Directory. Ah, yes. When we created a directory with SAPcp, I remember create director. Ah, you can see me breaking the. That's why we got all these deleted things. That was me trying to, bang, 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 create these sub-accounts, create sub-account, create sub-accounts, and I think I've broken something. So when we created a directory, there we go. That's right. Yes, that's the thing here. We needed the minimum. Let's do one. Let's do one with SAPcp first, just to see it. Make sure we just use the minimum. So display name. Let's call it episode 79A. Okay. A description episode 79A. And I think that's all we need to create a directory. And if it is, then we'll know that that's all we need to specify maybe in the post payload. I don't know, I'm just making it up. So let's just see if that directory has been created. Let's go back to here. Why are things expiring all the time? I don't know. Directories, beta. There we go, episode 79A, episode 79A. That's cool, okay. And now if we look at the hierarchy, we got it over here. So we'll create maybe a sub-account in here, and then look at the job information. So let's go back and have a look here. Custom properties. We don't need any custom properties. We didn't specify it. We specified features, display name, and description. Display name, description, and features was an array of strings. Okay. We'll tell you what we'll do. We'll just copy that, cat into the spec.json, rather than try and do anything else. Custom properties. We don't. Let's leave out custom properties for now. Description. Episode 79B. Oh no, episode 79B. Directory admins. No, don't want that. Directory features default. Yeah, we used default before, didn't we? There are different directory features available. We looked at that briefly in episode 77. Display name, EP79-B, a subdomain. Oh, we need to specify did we need to specify a subdomain? I don't think we specified a subdomain, didn't we? Did we? No. Okay. So let's not specify a subdomain. Let's see what happens. So now, same thing, endpoints, account service URL, accounts, what's it look like? Accounts v1 directories. We want to make a post. Directories, and I think you can put things in any order really with curl. So let's put -d, and then if we put an @ sign, that specifies the data is in a file. What do we call the file? I can't believe, what do we call the file? We call it dirspec. Dirspec.json. Verbose. Shall I try that? Shall we try that? Oh, unsupported media type. Okay, because the default curl is sending this. Can you see there? It's sending, it's sending XWWW form URL encoded. So let's try that again. but specifying, of course, content type application JSON. In fact, I've got, haven't I? I've got a little shortcut, jcurl, which will send that header automatically. I think. Let's try that. Okay, the content. Okay, it did send that. So that bit worked. Application JSON. vi which jcurl is just basically call curl with that content type header and then whatever parameters you specified in the first place. That's what that is. So what did I do wrong there? Accounts v1 directories not found. Accounts v1 directories. We did a post, didn't we? So why is that not working? 404. Now, I do know that in some circumstances, let's try that here first of all. Let's just try it. Create a directory. Try out. Let's put here. Well, let's just use the defaults, right? String and string. Let's see what happens. Oh, email string is not valid. Okay, fine. Server response, email string. Let's get rid of the directory admins. Try it again. Directory folder must not contain a subdomain. Oh. Ah, okay. So maybe that is actually wrong as a wrong example. Okay, folder. Wow, it created it. Okay, fine. So what was the actual that worked? Let's have a quick look there. Let's just go to subaccounts, back to directories, refresh. There it is. String. It's called string. Where is it? There. So what was the difference? We had a post on accounts service cfapps EU10 HandsOnSAPDev.com. Let's just have a little thing like that side by side. Account service cfapps EU10 HandsOnSAPDev.com, and the path is accounts v1 directories. Accounts v1 directories. So what did I do wrong there? We've got 7 minutes to go. I can't see. Can anybody see what I did wrong there? I can't see what I did wrong. Post accounts directories, host account, curl. Let's have a quick look up here. What else have we got here? That's always sending. Oh, could not resolve host bearer. What? What does it mean? Could not resolve host bearer. Okay, so let's do it one more time. Let's not introduce this weird thing there. Let's just do that. dirspec. Wait. Okay, maybe we'll specify the D here, right? At dirspec.json and get rid of it from there. It worked. It worked. Okay, it was me being, I don't know, stupid or trying to be clever or something. So it worked. There we go. GUID, blah, 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 Ep.79b. So now let's have that full screen again. And it would be cool to be able to refresh this, wouldn't it? But anyway, let's go back here. And I mean, I suppose it's not as if you're creating all these things all the time. There we go. There it is. Ep.79b. Now, finally, let's create a sub-account in that directory and then see if we can catch the job information. That's what we want to do, isn't it? And what we did was create sub-account. There we go. That's what we did, right? So we created a sub-account. We specified the directory parent, as it were. We gave it a display name, a region, and a subdomain. Okay, so let's try that. Directory operations, sub-account operations. Get, we want post, don't we? Where? Post. Create a sub-account. Post. There we go. That's it there. So we can post some content. Let's do that same thing again. Let's do it on the command line, you know, because command line. Cat into subaccount.spec. Beta enable true, custom properties, key, string, values, let's ignore those. Description, new sub account, yay. Display name, yay. Origin, what does that mean? Don't know what origin is. Region setup, I'm not going to do that. Parent, oh, parent GUID, right, okay. So we want the parent GUID, which is this. Oh, sorry, I don't want to edit it. I want to look at the information. F there, okay. Parent GUID is that. Strange highlighting. Region. What region am I in? EU10, isn't it? EU10. Yeah, EU10. EU10. Subaccount admins, don't care about that. And we'll have yay subdomain there. Okay. So now let's try that. It should be the same sort of core, shouldn't it? With accounts v1 subaccounts. So let's try that. And finally, what we'll do as well, rather than sort of hack around with the command line, finally, we'll go to jobs here and we'll look at the job here, right? Job management, get job status. All we need to do is specify, try it out, specify the ID of the job. Okay, so this is like the grand finale. It's not that exciting, you know, the information you get, but the key thing is you can get it. So let's have a look. There we go. Let's use the same sort of thing. Do a spec. We want the, what's it called? Sub account spec. What did I call it? What is wrong with my brain? Sub account.spec. Okay, so let's call it. Well, it doesn't matter, does it? It doesn't have to be after JSON suffix. Content type application JSON. There we go. So all we need to do now is change that last word, which is accounts, sub accounts, isn't it? Sub accounts. Sub accounts. Yes, sub accounts. And then we need to, I wonder if it'll give us a job information in the JSON output. Let's put here, JQ, pretty print it. Oh, there we go. There's no job information. State started. Okay, so maybe the API, this is still in beta, maybe the API doesn't give us a job information, which the subaccount creation with SAPcp did. Okay. But let's just see if that's being created. Directories. Oh, sorry. Oh, there we go. Awesome. That works as well. There we go. We just created that one. This API is awesome. Already. And it's only beta. Right. Okay. So now finally, I want a job ID. I want a job ID. So let's do a create sub-account. Let's do that one. But the directory is, we want this directory, don't we? What's the directory thing again? Is it still my paste buffer? I don't know. Let's have that there. Jobs is in the, jobs is in the header. Guy, what a superstar. See, Guy. Let's just have a look to see if we can see that header. Oh, there we go. Down at the bottom. You mean in the header of the response. So here's the header coming back. Can we see the job? There we go. There we go. Look at that. Amazing. Oh, so what? That's beautiful. Hold on. What status code did we get? I didn't look at that. Is that? I'm suspecting that is a 201 status code, which is, if it is, where's the status code? Where's the status code? Oh, there he is there. There's the status code. 201 created. So that is actually a super bonus right at the end of the live stream. That's a super bonus for us because the APIs are using HTTP as the deity intended as an application protocol. So we get a created. Please create a sub-account. Created. The location of the sub-account, actually, the status is there. So 555.289, 555.289. Stick it in there. 555289. Execute. Status completed. There we go. Can we do that as well here? Job management. There we go. Let's do that, right? Let's copy that. Let's do that here as well. Verbose. We don't want any data. Oh, we just want to, yeah. Final thing. There we go. There. Paste that in. Bang. Does that work? Status completed. There we go. And we've hit the top of the hour. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Guy, for being a superstar, and thank you everybody for taking part as well, and being superstars of course as well. So I wish you a good weekend, a lovely weekend, and I'll see you same time, same place next week. Thanks for joining.